Well, good evening, everybody. And this is literally going to be a packed show tonight. First of all, I want to give my good friend, I've got him on my channel for once. Normally we're doing stuff on his channel, but he's on my channel. Paul, you're very welcome. It's good to see you, brother.
And you,
You've been
mate.
busy. You've been busy. And if you haven't seen the video that Paul did earlier on today, get on it. It's 18 minutes long. It is an absolute masterpiece. It's a masterclass in how to do a video. I love that one, Paul. It was absolutely superb.
Thank you very much, Richard.
And again, most people on my channel will know Paul. If you don't, dive across to Paul Thorpe on YouTube. Get those subs up, because how close are you to 300,000 now, Paul?
Oh, I'm over, mate. I'm
Forget about them.
nearly up to 301.
We got to get.
Hopefully, by the end of this stream, I'll be on 301.
I was going to say 500,000.
That would be nice.
And again, welcome everybody. It's glad to have everybody watching tonight. Listen, this is going to be quite a serious stream tonight. I mean, there's serious stuff happening all over the world, and we want to focus on really what's happening in the UK at the minute, and what's been happening with the marches, the hate marches, the radicalization, the extremism. We've got to cover the whole lot. I think I'm going to start by, Paul, reading a snippet from the Times newspaper article about the hate sheikh, and we titled this this video, "Should we ban the hate sheikhs from entering the UK?" And I think that's the big question, because there's all this talk about marches, and we'll look at that in a minute. We'll look at Shabana Mahmood's video that she did yesterday on Sky News. But I think to add context, this hate sheikh was allegedly one of the men that radicalized the jihadists called Jihad that attacked the synagogue and was responsible for the deaths of, well, 3 people, because he's responsible for his own death, and he's responsible for the death of the man he murdered, and also responsible for the death of the man that was very, very tragically shot by the police. All of that's on him. It's not on the police. And I am one of the biggest critics of the police when they do something wrong as anybody. But I think in this sort of situation, the police have got to have the ability to open fire on a terrorist. And very sadly, when bullets start flying about, innocent people can get caught in it. That's tragically seems to be what happened here. So let's have a look at what this sheikh's all about. Now this sheikh is not a marginal extremist. That's what I found really shocking when I looked at this, Paul. This sheikh is a man who recites the Quran in Arabic song. You know, you hear that sort of that's, I can't stand it, to be honest with you, but you hear that sort of singing. That's what this guy does. And I'm just going to show you a picture of him and let everybody know really what he's all about. So let's just have a look at this fella. So this is him, Sheikh Mishri Alafsi, an imam from Kuwait. And it says I'm not going to use the word God, because he doesn't call on God, he calls on Allah. He called on Allah to punish the Zionists in the wake of the October the 7th tea attacks by Hamas, in which 1,200 people were murdered. Now, it's interesting because Jihad's own father, according to if what we've read in the media is true, he also celebrated the massacre of Jewish people, Israelis. It wasn't just Jewish people. There were people from all backgrounds got caught up in that slaughter, that hate fest that Hamas went on October the 7th. This is from Times newspaper, and the article goes on. He's previously railed against the treachery of the Jews and said their characteristics include an eagerness to ignite wars. Now, to me, just looking back, I mean, people have selective amnesia, don't they, Paul?
Yeah,
I think I can remember what happened on October the 7th. And as far as I can remember, it wasn't the Israelis that instigated anything. It was those nutcases that went flying across the border from Gaza with a vengeance and a hatred that I think outstrips the Nazis, Paul.
Well, Richard, the first question that I would have is, what did those individuals think they were going to achieve that day? What did they think that the Israeli response was going to be?
I mean, that is the thing that beggars belief, Paul. I think they knew exactly what the response would be.
Of course they knew. Of course they knew.
I also think, Paul, that what happened to a great extent was when that genocidal attack was launched, they were expecting Hezbollah to join in and Iran to join in. And of course, the coordination just didn't work. They were the only ones that went for it. And Hezbollah did a little bit, but they never really got off the ground. So I think they were expecting a lot bigger attack. And I think, again, it's probably miraculous that Israel's still there. When you look at what's been thrown at Israel in the last 2 years, missile attacks from Houthis, from Hezbollah, from Iraq, from Syria, ballistic missiles from Iran. It is, and of course, all the stuff coming in from the Gaza Strip. And people have got to understand how small Israel is. As far as I know, it's smaller than Wales.
Yeah.
Tiny
Richard,
country.
look, the deal is this, is that Israel have been for a very long time the guardians or the gatekeepers to the West
Absolutely.
and to our civilization. And the sooner people realise it, the better. And for those people that run around on a Saturday afternoon saying, stop the war, stop the killing, etc., well, my message to them is, well, if Hamas hadn't have done what they did on October the 7th, 2023, every single man, woman and child that's been killed since would still be alive.
Exactly. I just want to read a bit more of what this fella said, and then I want to go into, I think we'll actually look a little, I mean, tomorrow's October the 7th. I don't know if you're up for it, Paul. I was thinking of doing a special maybe sometime during the day tomorrow on October the 7th.
Yeah,
We'll work out a timing that works for you and works for me.
pretty much so.
I think it's really important, but we'll go a little bit into it tonight because I think it sets the context for everything that's happening in the UK at the moment. Because it's almost like we've been gaslit again and made to believe that actually, those of us who are actually saying, well, actually, Israel has a right to defend itself. Israel hasn't been disproportionate. Israel has lost a lot of men because it's trying to be very, very careful in how it executes the war against Hamas. But, with the mainstream media and the left and some on the right, and of course the Islamists, you would think that we're, Satan incarnate for having those
exactly.
those views. And those views are completely right mainstream views. In fact, if you'd have held any different views in the Second World War, you'd have probably been hung for treason by Churchill.
Exactly.
To be honest with you. I'm just going to read the rest of what this guy says, and then I want to have a little look at some of the stuff from October the 7th. And this is what this man said, Aleph. See, this is the guy that this jihad fella was listening to. And he did a tour of the UK last year. And I don't know whether he was spewing any of this stuff. He was actually in Manchester. He was actually in Manchester in either 2024 or...
I wonder if he was stopped by the anti-terror mob when he came in and questioned for 6 hours.
I would very much doubt it, Paul. I would very, very much doubt it. And this is another point, Paul. We know these characters are out there. How much due diligence has been done? And look, I am not in any way dishing our security services or our police, because they have prevented a large number of attacks taking place back in the Troubles in Northern Ireland and now from the jihadists. Without a shadow of a doubt, they've done that. But I think the scale of things we're looking at now, they are going to be unable to cope with the tsunami of attacks that could come against us. I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm not going to say where he works, but he's been involved in intelligence stuff for many, many, many years. And he said to me, I was saying, look, what's the scale of the radicalization? He says, we don't even know. He says, when you look at those marches on a Saturday, we haven't got a clue how many people are getting radicalized, how many, useful idiot English people are getting radicalized, how many of the Muslims are getting radicalized. They literally don't know. And I think that's why they're terrified. And I think that's why there's all this talk and this chatter about something truly dreadful happening in the UK. And I don't want to scare people. I really don't want to scare people on either channel. And we've got to trust in God. We've got to trust in our security services, and we've got to trust in the goodness of the majority of the British people. But we've also got to prepare ourselves.
Sorry, can I just pick up on a message there from Shell? She says, I've never, I know my depression has never been so bad. Shell, look, that is why we're here, hopefully to sort of, try and help you along with that sort of stuff. Don't let it get to you. Keep your chin up and, just get online with your brothers and sisters.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Paul, we've got solutions to these problems. I
Yeah,
genuinely believe we have the solution in our back pocket. And if people listen to us and actually, I know it sounds very arrogant to say this, but if people actually kind of do what we suggest, then I think we've got a good chance of solving all
yeah,
these problems. And like any conflict, and we are in a conflict. It's a very low intensity conflict, but we are in a conflict. And I think in any conflict there will be casualties, and we saw that very tragically last week. But at the same time, I believe in the British people. I believe in our Judeo-Christian heritage, and I believe good will prevail over evil. And also to people like Shell, if you're on our channel tonight, you're on the right side of history. You're standing with the good guys. Do you know? I was thinking, Paul, earlier. Do you remember the sketch from? I'm not sure what comedy show it was. There's two Nazis standing in a trench, and they're looking at each other. And the Russians, I think, or the Allies, are just about to attack them. And they look at each other and they go, "Are we the baddies?" You know the one I mean, right? Well, I think that's what's going to happen to all those Shabana Mahmoods or whatever her name is, and flipping, and Angela Rayner's. They're going to look at each other and go, "Are we the baddies?" They're
I
going to
think
actually.
I
The
think they
light's going
know
to
they're
come
the
on.
baddies.
Well, I don't think. I think honestly, I look at someone. I think they're that daft. I mean, I don't think
Oh yeah.
David Lammy couldn't spell baddie. You know what I mean?
Well, he's
He
now
spelled-
been nicknamed Mastermind, hasn't he? I mean, he's very
That's,
apt, isn't it?
that's right. That's right. That's right. The sad thing was when he was getting heckled on Friday, he thought they were cheering him, mate.
I tell you
He
what,
stood up and
honestly,
said,
do you know
"Friends."
what? I actually find him quite funny. I mean, like, to be honest with you, he's the only human being I've ever met that actually looks troubled having to think. But
certainly
listen,
challenged.
he's comical, you know. I mean, I'm sure he's Diane Abbott, and it's like Mrs. Doubtfire. When he's got his gear on, he's David Lammy. When he hasn't, he's Diane Abbott.
It's all prosthetics. It's all prosthetics, isn't it?
They even sound the same when they speak.
Are you saying he's Diane Abbott without her wig? Is that what we're
Mate,
looking at here, Paul?
honestly.
I personally think he's a love child of Diane Abbott and Idi Amin, but that's another story. We'll not even go there with that one. But anyway, getting back to what this wonderful reciter of the Quran said. Allah punish the Zionists. This was on October the 10th, 2023. Allah punish the Zionists and instill terror into their hearts and contradict their words and send down upon them your wrath and punishment. Well,
Oh, you've just frozen there, Richard. I don't know if I have as well. Hopefully I haven't frozen as well. I'll try and keep it going for you. Is he going to come back or are we going to lose him altogether? Guys, let me know if you can still hear me at least. Richard appears to have frozen. Richard, you're gone. Let's have a look. You might have to go out and come back in again, I think, the way it's looking. Okay, so you can still hear me. Okay, that's good. Richard, if you can still hear me, mate, you've frozen completely. Look, reading that, it doesn't come as any surprise. As Richard was saying, it makes you wonder how these people managed to get into the country in the first place. Richard will be back in a few moments, no doubt. Got to put 10p in the meter. But for me, the bigger question now, and this is something that I want to cover in the next few days, and it's something that I'm really giving a lot of thought, is that I think we all know now, everyone knows the mess that we're in, and even the people that don't want to admit or have been turning a blind eye to it, have probably got a good idea that we're not in a good place and that where we're heading is looking even worse. So I think the big question now is what can we do as social media users, influencers? I don't really like that word because I don't consider that I influence anyone. I just tell people my views and they can take them or leave them. But what we've got to do is we've got to come up with a solution. Because if you don't find a solution, then all you're going to get is more and more problems. So for me, the big question now, the $1 million question is how do we resolve this problem? Paul, you are good for sound. Yep, that's good. As long as you can all hear me. I don't know where Richard's gone, but there you go. It's his show. I'm appearing on Richard's show, and he's gone. He's not paid the bill. So the question is, where do we go from here? We have to find answers. I've got some ideas. Some of them are quite, what's the right word would I use? I hesitate to use the word radical because I don't mean radical in a bad way, but they're quite outrageous ideas. He's back. Good evening, Richard. You're back. Welcome.
Good evening.
Welcome back to your own show.
Yeah, I got booted out my own show.
You put some money in the meter.
Well done for holding the fort there, Paul. I don't know if anyone's seen me apart from on your channels now, so I don't really know what's going on. But I think the VPN didn't like Alfasi too much and kicked me out of my own show for reading Alfasi. I got cancelled from my own show, Paul. My goodness, you know. But I tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna try and drag in our good friend Shabana Mahmood. So just if things weren't bad enough as they are, we're gonna have a little bit of Shabima. Let's just see what she's got to say.
You said this morning that you'll legislate to give police new powers to ban repeated demonstration. Would that have stopped the pro-Palestinian demonstrations that came repeatedly in London earlier this year, and would it have prevented yesterday's demonstration?
Well, look, the strengthening of the legislation that I'm going to bring about is based on the ability of the police to place conditions and restrictions on protests. And what I will be making explicit is that cumulative disruption, that is to say the frequency of particular protests in particular places, is in and of itself a reason for the police to be able to restrict and place conditions. That is to say they can move them to a different place, they can restrict the time that those protests can occur on, so that will unlock all of the broader measures that the police can already do on protests. It's been clear to me in conversations in the last couple of days that there is a gap in the law and there is an inconsistency of practice. So I'll be taking measures immediately to put that right, and I will be reviewing our wider protest legislation as well to make sure the arrangements we have can meet the scale of the challenge that we face, which is protecting the right to protest, but ensuring that our communities can go about their daily business without feeling intimidated, and also that public order can be maintained.
Well, Paul, what do you think about that? I mean, let's just get rid of her. I don't want to see too much of her. We'll put her back in a minute. But
yeah,
what do you think about that, Paul?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I believe the police already have the powers that's required. They already have them. They just need to know, and they just need to be prepared and know how to use them and who to use them on. That's where the confusion lies. And as Ricky's saying now, I fear, my great fear, I'm not a great lover of closing down demonstrations, whether I like them or whether I don't. I believe in the right to march, to protest, etc. Obviously, it needs to stay within the law, but we cannot afford to take that right away. And just because we don't like someone or someone's cause doesn't necessarily mean to say that I agree with taking that right away. However, what I would say is that the banning of face coverings for particular organisations or particular events, I think, is a very good idea. And I say that from both sides. When we have an event, we say strictly no facial coverings. And if you come with your face covered, you'll be asked to remove it. So I would have no problem whatsoever with the police saying to United Kingdom, we're banning face masks, because it wouldn't affect us. We don't attempt to hide our identity. We're proud of who we are.
Well, I agree. I mean, that's what we do, Paul. I mean, we don't hide away. Having said that, I mean, I think there's going to be big problems if they do this. And I think one of the issues is that this, to me, is obviously targeted at the United Kingdom rallies and the hotel protests. Now, I'm involved in both, as you know, and the reality is, this is what these people have got to realise, Paul. If they drive it underground and they ban marches, do you know what? The people with the furry faces will come out. The people with the masks will come out. I mean, I'll not be there, but there will be people coming out saying, do you know what? We've done it your way. We've done it the peaceful way. Step aside, boys. We're going to create havoc. And is that what these people want? Is that what the government want?
Richard, I just don't think they understand how. I think they're just completely out of touch. They're completely out of touch with the people. Now, we know that from everything that they do, everything that they say, from the moment, from Keir Starmer's first challenge as Prime Minister, which was obviously the Southport incident, he got it wrong. From the very first moment a ball was kicked, he got it wrong, and he's continued to get it wrong time after time after time. And he refuses to see it. He refuses to recognise his own failings, and the people that he's in, that he's putting in positions of power, the Home Secretary. I mean, who came up with the decision to make Shabana Mahmood Home Secretary?
Exactly.
What an insult and a kick in the balls to the regular population of the UK, who are already feeling a bit touchy when it comes to, I'm going to say it, Richard, when it comes to Islam, right? They're already feeling a bit twitchy.
Well,
why would you do that?
Is there any wonder, Paul? Is there any wonder that people are feeling a bit twitchy when you look at what's happening? I'm going to play a bit more of this because there's some really interesting stuff in this, Paul. So just apologies for putting this woman on my channel. I had loads of other stuff lined up. You know the way it happens, Paul.
Hold on a minute, Rich. Can you just hold on for a minute?
Yeah.
Before you do, I'll tell you when. Okay, hold on a sec. Right, go on then.
Okay.
Put her on.
Okay. Well, that's not Shabana Mahmood.
Oh, okay. I can say.
Yeah, but we'll get rid of that. But because we do want to come back to that stuff. But yeah, let's just put Shabima back on. So let's just.
Home Secretary, is part of the problem that we're seeing now a consequence of your government's decision?
Now, what Trevor Phillips says at the end of this clip, I'm going to try and fast forward because again, I don't want to bore everyone to death with regurgitating what Trevor Phillips said yesterday. But let's see if I don't want to bring it forward too far. Let's see if I can get this.
Of the Metropolitan Police having to be deployed in huge numbers to cart people away from Parliament Square or streets of Westminster. They can't be doing that and at the same time be protecting mosques.
Did you hear what he said? Will I play that again? I'll just play that little bit again.
That last bit again. Oh, sorry, I was reading the comments.
They can't be doing that and at the same time be protecting mosques unless they...
What did he say there, Paul? Do you hear what he said at the very end?
About protecting mosques.
Protecting. Now, this is important because that's a Freudian slip, and it's not the first one that Sky News have made. Last week, they were talking about mosques when it was a synagogue that had been attacked. They have an obsession with Islamophobia. They have an obsession with mosques. Now, there was an attack on a mosque, I believe, over the weekend at some point where there was a fire. We don't know who did it. We don't know the context. Nobody's given us any context. We don't know whether it was a rival
no, we don't
group
know.
Of Muslims. We don't know. We don't know. There's been nobody arrested, so we don't know anything about it, right? But nobody was killed, and that was before this clip was actually shot. So the obsession among the liberal elite is not about churches and synagogues and innocent people getting attacked. It's about always protecting the mosques. Do you remember what happened after Southport, Paul?
Yeah.
With Keir Starmer. He said, we will do everything to protect the Muslim community. And at that point, and I'm going to say this is what I believe. People can call me out on it and say I'm wrong. I believe Axel Rudabakana, I believe his motivation was ISIS. Plain and simple. Yes, he'd watched a whole lot of other gory videos and all the rest of it. We know that. But I believe his motivation was ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Why? Because he'd been watching ISIS videos and he had an Al-Qaeda manual in his bedroom. So to me, that's pretty much an Islamist attack. They can talk about it being a mixed ideology all they want. I don't buy it and I don't believe it. But this one, Paul, it's beyond doubt that it was an Islamist attack.
Yeah.
There is no plea. There is no way of getting around it or getting away with it. I want to pull this for... Sorry, go on, Paul. No, go on, Paul. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, Richard, while she was off, I was saying to people that ultimately, I'm going to be coming up with some ideas in the next few days about how we actually solve this divide that's rapidly appeared and getting wider and wider, it seems, almost by the day. And what I think the first step is, and I've been guilty of it myself in the past, and I put my hands up to being guilty of it, You not so much, to be fair. I think you've been braver. Maybe I've just been a bit naive, but we've now all got to understand, realise, accept and speak about the elephant in the room, which is obviously certain aspects of the Muslim community. And what we need to do is reach out to them for their help. But I don't think we're going to get it.
I'm beyond that, Paul, to be honest with you. But again, we can have a look at what you think, and we'll have a look at what I think when we get to that part of the show. But I want to pull this forward here because one of the things that Mahmood is doing, she's very, very specifically and very, very cunningly and in a very sinister manner targeting what she calls the far right and the hotel protests. I want to pull it forward to this bit. Just bear with me.
What they had to do yesterday and do what he would like to do in protecting Jewish communities. He's been pretty clear about that. He's also been clear previously that he's going to lose officers. The number that's been mentioned is 1,700. How can you square that circle?
Well, look, I've been talking not just to Mark, but to other police leaders as well, all across the country. I've been assured that they are able to manage the challenges that they currently face. But of course, this is going to be an intense discussion over the coming weeks and months. It is my job as Home Secretary to make sure they have the resources they need to police the various challenges that are presenting themselves. And I acknowledge that there is a huge uptick in the demands.
Sorry about that. Let's get back in.
We have a whole range of protests. We've had a number of near misses around migrant hotels. A mosque was set on fire last night. We've had
What does she mean, Paul, by a number of near misses around migrant hotels? What does she actually mean by that? Is she talking about
referring back to Southport?
Well, there was no migrant hotel in Southport, Paul.
No. But there were attacks on migrant hotels afterwards, weren't there?
But the point I'm making is, Paul, she's more concerned about the migrant hotels than she is about the residents of the migrant hotels, who, without a shadow of doubt, there'll be wrong-uns in there, whether they're criminals.
She's not talking about the Jewish community in Manchester, the second largest Jewish community in the country, or the Jewish community in North London, that they need extra protection and our thoughts and prayers are with them and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she's back to her core beliefs.
Exactly. Let's hear what else she's got to say.
An anti-Semitic terrorist attack on UK soil as well. I think we should all acknowledge the complexity of the picture that the police are dealing with. Okay. I will, of course, respond, and if there are questions on funding, I'm sure we will deal with them
but you're cutting
in the weeks and months.
So she's more concerned about what she calls the far right. She's more concerned about the threat from people. The pink ladies. The pink ladies are the biggest threat in the country at the minute, Paul. That's Sarah and all the other pink ladies. They are the massive threat at the moment. Nothing to do with anyone else. All we've got to be concerned about at the minute, Paul, are the pink ladies, because there's nobody else there that's causing any problems.
I'm getting feedback from a phone, Richard. Is it yours? Have you got your
Don't
phone
think so,
very
mate.
near your mic or anything?
I'll just
Tell if anyone else is picturing that.
Yeah, so my big concern is, Paul, that this is going to be used, and it's not even a sledgehammer to crack a nut. They're deliberately going to target our marches, the hotel protests, and close them down. Now, obviously, they'll probably end up closing down some of the hate marches as well, which, you know me, Paul, I'm pretty much a free speech absolutist unless it's incitement. But when you look at what that man from Kuwait said in his rantings, you look at what Bob Villan said in his appalling appearance on the BBC at Glastonbury, death.
And he's due to play in Manchester, I believe, very shortly. Surely that must be cancelled. I mean, look, at the end of the day, once again, Richard, Advance have had to cancel a meeting due to threats of violence, intimidation. This is a legal political party, one of the fastest growing political parties of all time. And they've had to ban another meeting because of threats made to the venue, etc., etc. Some very nasty threats indeed. Now, at the end of the day, We've got to get hold of this, Richard. We've got to get a grip of it.
Absolutely, Paul, because the truth of the matter is, this is going to lead to something that we have never seen in mainland GB, probably since the English Civil War. It's going to lead to an absolute catastrophe, and it is literally, it's time's running out, Paul, on getting the solutions. And again, we talk about these things and we agonize over them, but the reality is the only way to change them is by having a government that'll change them. And as much as people might think I'm mad, the only government that will possibly make any change is Advance, because of the way Reform are, and because of the influence that Muslims have over that party. I'm just going to be brutally honest. It's going to be extremely difficult for them to do what needs to be done. And I've got some ideas on what needs to be done without creating too much havoc.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, here's the thing, right, is that for anyone watching this right now that from the other side maybe, or as more of a left-leaning, my message to them will be this: listen to us carefully, and be forewarned in the respect that, let me give you Brexit as an example. Now, most of the people that I know that voted for Brexit due to their fears over immigration.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for the fears of the people's fears of immigration and their concerns, Brexit probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And the Brexit that you didn't want to happen probably wouldn't have taken place if you'd have listened. But you didn't listen. You carried on. You kept putting two fingers up to us. You kept putting your fingers in your ears and closing your eyes and humming. And the end result of that was the public came out and said, no, Brexit.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't listen now, the next move is something far bigger than Brexit, far more concerning than Brexit, in a different level. So the time has come, you have to listen. The left refuse to listen. They refuse to listen to I say the left, I mean, look, Boris Johnson, he didn't listen.
No, exactly. And if we think, Paul, if we think about why the situation that we're in actually happened, and we look back to what's led us to this position, it's almost like the hate marches have been, and the coverage on the BBC and all the nonsense that's been spewed. It's almost like October the 7th never happened.
Yeah.
That it was, it didn't happen. It was a conspiracy theory. That's what these nutcases believe. They genuinely believe that, and I think from the point of view of where we go with that, Paul, I mean, I just don't know what you do with that sort of mentality.
Well, here's the thing, Richard. I've been looking at the mainstream media today.
Yeah.
And I've been very busy, but I've been keeping my eye on the mainstream media, keeping my eye on the newspapers.
Yeah.
Let me tell you now that by Thursday, this will be fish and chip wrapper.
Exactly.
The events in Manchester will be fish and chip wrapper.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it was the other way around, we'd still be hearing about this till past Christmas.
Yeah, totally.
And that's the bottom line with the mainstream media. There's no ifs, no buts, no maybes, no bias. It is, not me being biased. The mainstream media's bias is clear and obvious, very tangible, and out there for everyone to see and feel.
Exactly. I want to remind people that I could go on a real gore fest here, but I'm not going to. I want to put some images, and there's nothing that's offensive or is going to cause anyone's channels any problems. But I want to put some images in here. I was in London on several occasions shortly after October the 7th. I came over specifically to oppose the hate marches, and I took a stand against the hate marches, and I joined a lot of the the marches against anti-Semitism, the pro-Israel marches. But I want to put some images up here, and this one here was, I believe, towards the middle
of weekend. Or
This was middle of September, Paul.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, middle of October after the attacks, and I was in that crowd, and it was a very small gathering, and most of those people were Jews. There was hardly anybody non-Jewish stood with those people that day, and I thought that was appalling, to be honest with you. And I was almost like, it was almost like you were gate crashing a family reunion.
Where are all the students?
Well, exactly.
Where are all the university students and the Islington elite and the lefties? Where are they?
Exactly, Paul. Exactly. Now, there's a couple of images that I want to show here that really, really haunted me, and have haunted me since that day, because there was Jewish families hugging each other. Honestly, they thought that the second Holocaust had just begun, and I think they weren't too far wrong. If it wasn't for the IDF, I think the second Holocaust would have absolutely happened. If it wasn't for God's providence and the amazing technology and skill of the IDF, I think you would be looking at a smouldering heap of rubble in the Middle East and lots of millions of dead Jewish people. That's what would have happened. That's what people have got to understand, Paul. That's what Hamas want. That's what Islamic radicals want. And that's what Islamic doctrine and scripture has militated for since the time of Muhammad.
And we have to face that, Richard. There's no good denying it anymore. It's no good trying to put it under the pillow. We have to face what's in front of us, and we have to deal with it. And we need a government that is strong enough and has the will to deal with it.
I've a good friend of mine passed away last week, a man called Sam Solomon. And Sam was a former Sharia judge. I'm not going to say where he was from because he's still got family that are alive. He was a former Sharia judge. So he was like at the top table. He was the top tier of Islamic scholarship and Islamic education. He was a Sharia judge in a very, very troubled part of the world. And he became a Christian. And he wrote a lot of books. And he wrote a book called Al-Yahud. And it was about the Islamic theology of the Jew. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it tonight because we're not going to have time, but I am going to try and do in a bite-sized ways, break this down so that people can understand it. Like I say, I'll not do it tonight, but he goes through in immense detail from the Hadith, from history, from the Quran, the pure hatred there is against Jews and against Christians in those texts and in those scriptures. Now, we can't get away from that, Paul. And I'm not for a minute saying that every single Muslim believes that.
No, of course not.
We shouldn't even have to qualify that, right?
Yeah.
But we keep having to say it. But the reality is, it is there in their theology, it's there in their texts, it's there in the Hadith, it's there in their history, it's in their jurisprudence, it's in their eschatology, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it is horrifying. And I will look at that. But I want to show some of these images. Now, the first one I want to show you, I just photographed this woman because her face haunted me. And you'll see what I mean when you see this. Look at that woman's face. Just really look at her eyes. Look at the fear. Look at and I say that woman's a lot younger than me, Newport, right? But she is absolutely living what's happened to her people.
Yeah.
And the thing, I'm in the very privileged position of having a lot of Jewish friends in England. I'm not going to name them. I'll name Ian because Ian doesn't mind me naming it, but I'm not going to name others because I know that I understand the fear. And one of my very good friends, his brother had a heart attack on hearing the news of what had happened on October the 7th. The devastation that attack had on the Jewish community in the United Kingdom, people cannot comprehend, because Jewish people are very intelligent people, and they've also been through a Holocaust already, and they know that something similar could happen in the United Kingdom. And let's get it right, Paul. It wouldn't be coming from the far right. It wouldn't be coming from the centre right. It wouldn't be coming from the Liberal Democrats. It might come from sections of the Labour Party and the Green Party.
And the Green Party, yeah.
Yeah, but or Corbyn's new lot. But the reality is, it's going to come from the Islamists with probably some useful idiots from the far left. And it could happen. It could happen. And all of my Jewish friends are saying, we're getting out of here. But if the older ones are saying, we'll kind of stay, but the younger ones with family and money, they're going. You know,
Well, I
that
said it earlier on. I said it earlier on in that video, Richard. I mean, look, at the end of the day, here's the thing. On Saturday, my daughter went to London to a friend's leaving do. She's leaving the country. Her friend leaving the country.
yeah,
So she went to London to go to this farewell party, and I was absolutely crapping myself until she got home that night.
yeah,
Imagine how you'd feel if you was Jewish. Imagine
exactly.
if she was wearing the Star of David.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And imagine, you know, there was those protests at the train stations in Glasgow, I think in Manchester as well. In Manchester, I think it was
Yeah.
the day that the attack happened,
Day after,
or
was
the
it?
day
Or
after.
day after, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, for goodness sake, you know, and these things were happening literally. And I'm going to say something very coarse, but the blood wasn't even dry. The bodies weren't even cold. These people had just been murdered by a jihadist, and yet these fanboys of Hamas and fangirls of Hamas, you know, especially the use of, you know, I heard Juliet Hartley-Brewer. I don't know, I like Juliet Hartley-Brewer, but she nailed it earlier on. She was on about these little snotty-nosed rich kids, the little brats, you know, that talk like they've got marbles in their mouths. And you see them on all these TV shows that, you know, they wheel them out, these media types. They
Yeah.
haven't got a clue. But they're worse than useful idiots. They're evil useful idiots, because they're giving cover. They're giving covering fire to Hamas. And even worse than that, our disgusting, despicable prime minister. And I tell you what, Paul, he's going to be gone by Christmas. But that disgusting man basically signed off on the death warrant of Jewish people in this country when he recognized the so-called
Palestinian
state of
yeah.
Palestine.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting and despicable act. And I'm actually, I'll be honest with you, I'm very worried about what Trump's doing with Tony Blair, because I don't trust Tony Blair one iota. And I just, you know, I hope Trump is smart enough to know that Blair can't be trusted, and he'll try and play the situation for his own ends. But that woman's face, Paul.
You're just having a little break up again there, Rich.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. You got some supers to get through as well, my friend.
Yeah, let's get through some of the supers, and then we'll come back to this. So Tom Early, super sticker, £5. Thank you very much, Tom. That's massively appreciated. Jackie Lee, we got to look after our veterans selling poppy soon. That's a very good point, Jackie. That's a very, very good point. We need to be vigilant, especially around our elderly veterans. Some of the younger veterans, especially in the country where I live, if anybody try to stick it on them, they get a big surprise. But the elderly veterans in England, I think they've absolutely got to be looked after, and people need to be vigilant. Obviously, what they won't want is a whole lot of us racking up and standing next to them and putting people off buying poppies. But I think people have got to be very, very vigilant when they're very careful, when they're about. Laurie N, the hotel, absolutely nailed it, Laurie. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah. Mahmood is going after the hotel protests, 100%. You know, it's so sinister. And remember, the other thing that they try to push through is, at the minute as well, is the Islamophobia definition. That's
it's the thing, Richard, by the way. Sorry for interrupting you there, mate.
No,
it's the deal, right? It's risk versus reward, isn't it, right? It's give and take. Now, if she bans a few of her mates from marching for Palestine on a Saturday, you know, things will be said, communications will be made, the elders will be in the background. They'll be quite happy to give it up for a few months or whatever, as long as they can shut Tommy down and the pink ladies and get rid of all the so-called far right off the streets. Deal done. Jobs are good one for her.
Absolutely. Debbie, thanks for becoming a member. I'm not sure whether it's me or Paul, but thanks for either. This is when we do a thing, we never know whose super chats they are, but thanks for everything that you guys are doing anyway. I appreciate it. Dark Side of the Moon, Paul Richard, do you think it's too late for a peaceful resolution? No, I don't. But I'll tell you what,
we're running out of time.
The clock is ticking. If we don't get a government in 2029 that is absolutely dedicated to overturning 30, 40 years of rot, I think the rot started at the end of Thatcher's premiership when Major came in. I think that, you know, she held the line a bit. I must admit, I didn't like a lot of the globalization stuff she did, but I think she held the line to a great extent. But
Richard, I fear. When I look at that, Paul Richard, do you think it's too late for a peaceful resolution? What I fear is this. is that every day now, every single day that passes, we're only one event from total disaster, total and utter disaster. And,
Well,
please God, that event doesn't come. But we are only one more event away. I mean, God forbid, if we was to have another, I don't even want to talk about it. But
yeah, we know what you're saying, Paul. We know what you're saying, and I agree with you 100%.
because of
And
weakness, Richard, not because the people are dying to kick off, but because
no,
they're sick of not being looked after.
well, this is the whole thing. I mean, if there is another event and the state has failed to prevent it, then I'm not going to start saying things. I'm not going to start making great speeches about why people shouldn't do this or do that. I'm not going to say anything. Simple, because the reality is we did intervene, Paul. You intervened. Tommy intervened. I know lads in the background intervened and said, don't do anything stupid. Don't be
Stay
doing
off the
crazy stuff.
streets.
Stay off the well. I mean, I said go and do peaceful protests because I think that's something. And again, this is
No, I was talking about the riots. Stay off the
oh yeah,
streets.
of course, yeah. Don't riot. I think the reality is this government is overstretching in all directions. Do they really think that thin blue line can hold the line? If we were very peaceful when we went to London, what happens if all those millions of people that went to London and that watched it online said, okay, do you know what? You're not going to stop us protesting. We're going to go out and we're going to do what we want. And what are you going to do about it? Put us in prison. We don't care anymore. Do you know what I mean, Paul? What does a government do if that happens? And I think they need to think long and hard about what they're trying to do here.
Well, I just feel they've completely lost all sight of everything and they've lost control. I mean, you said that, if we don't get a new government or the right government in 2029, Richard, I don't think we've got that long left in us. I really don't.
No,
I really, really don't.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think the problem is, Paul, I mean, is Advance UK going to be ready before 2029?
Well, that's the big question. Probably a video, a big topic for another video.
Another video,
something
yeah.
we need to
I mean,
speak to Ben about. But,
I mean, we need to get our skates and we need to get moving.
yeah.
Because if they call an election in 2027,
Richard, the way things are going, I think Rachel Reeves could bring this government down with her budget. Wait and see what happens.
Bring the government down. She could bring the whole country down, mate, with a budget.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if she
bankrupt
busts the economy, they got a big problem.
I mean, millionaires are leaving, like rats leaving a sinking ship.
One every 2 minutes.
Yeah. And who can blame them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gary Neville, I mean, I don't even want to think about that man, but Gary Neville, I mean, he is beneath any of our contempt. And do you know what I was thinking, Paul? He says, I had so many England caps. Well, you didn't win anything, you mug. You didn't win a single trophy for England, you absolute mug. And all those superstars. And do you know why they didn't win, Paul? Here's the thing, right? This is why I believe that England team never won a trophy. And England will probably never, there was no passion.
No passion.
It wasn't that extra. And Neville, by the way he's behaving, he's exactly proved the point. You look at some of those players for even teams like France and Germany, man, they really love that shirt because they love their country and they went for 100%.
Their country. Yeah.
See those England players, every single one of them was always stuff left in the tank and they didn't put the foot on the gas. That's why we never won a trophy. Simple as that. And Gary
Richard,
Neville,
I agree 100,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an out and out football man and I've never seen the passion or haven't seen the passion that I wanted from an England side since Euro 96.
Do you remember the Champions League final where Gerrard literally run it on his own for Liverpool?
Yeah.
Did he ever do that for England? The only man I've seen do that for England was David Beckham against Greece in the Euros.
Yeah, I wouldn't knock Gerrard for his passion.
I'm not. But what I'm saying is, Paul, the bottom line is, as a team, where was that?
As a team, yeah. Well, I just don't think the belief is there. The belief, the camaraderie, the being proud of being English.
And that's the point.
And giving it your all. You see players, they'll go out for their club and they'll be prepared to break a leg, but they put an England shirt on and it's all mamby-pamby. That's because they don't love their country. And Gary Lineker and Gary Neville have shown us exactly why.
Exactly. totally proved that point. Totally proved that point. And that's why they never won anything. It wasn't because they didn't have the ability, they didn't have the passion.
The
And
thing that
Gary
annoyed
Neville,
me, the
you're
thing
a
that annoyed
disgrace.
me, the thing that annoyed me most about his speech was when he said that don't talk to me about patriotism. I've pulled the England shirt on 85 times or whatever
Yeah.
bullshit he was. Yes,
Yeah.
he was being very highly paid
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was his way, allegedly, of showing his patriotism for his country.
yeah.
Well,
And I pulled a bulletproof vest on and flipping carried a rifle
exactly.
300 and something times in Northern
Exactly.
Ireland. Yeah,
Exactly. So
you
don't
know,
tell us about patriotism, Gary
exactly,
Neville.
exactly.
And listen,
Mug.
mate, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you show your face wherever you want, but I'll tell you what, the reception that you're going to get now from the British public,
Yeah,
you ain't going to be the Gary
He's not
Neville
gonna-
that used to run out on the pitch at Old Trafford and everyone was applauding you. You are
Yeah.
going to get booed and smirked at every single place you go from now on.
Total mug.
You
An
should
abs-
resign from your position at Sky Sports and crack on with your property developing, making you millions and billions of pounds. Good luck to you, Gary. Good luck to you making money. That's what life is all about. You've got to go out there and make some money. But don't you dare get on your high horse about the average everyday Brit waving a flag.
Embarrassment,
Piss take
an absolute embarrassment. You know what I mean? And the thing is, Paul, people in days gone by, people would have listened to these celebrities. Do you know what? See, if you're a celebrity trying to lecture us on politics, nobody's listening to you because do you know what they're doing? They listen to Paul Thorpe, they listen to Tommy Robinson, they listen to Maya Tusi, they listen to Sargon, they're listening to Lawrence Fox. They're listening to people who actually really love the country and care about the country. That's who people are listening to. They're not listening to these superannuated, you know, Danny Dyer's another one. Oh, don't even start with Paul. Do you know what I mean? But these people are a real problem because these people have influenced people down through the years and the media has been used. It's been weaponized and celebrities and sports stars have been weaponized against us.
Richard, I'll tell you, let me give you an example. These people, they live the life of a beautiful young girl. Let me explain what I mean by that.
Yeah.
If you're a beautiful young one, everyone is nice to you. Maybe some of the other girls aren't so nice to you, but in general,
Yeah.
everyone's nice to you. You're going to get a job easy. People are polite to you. People will open doors.
Yeah.
You know, people say yes when they really mean no, blah, 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 because they want to impress you, because you live the life of a pretty young girl.
Yeah.
And that is what these celebrities, if they live that life where nobody says no to them. I've seen it. I worked at a professional football club for 4 years. I know what it's like.
Yep.
Nobody says no. They get everything they want when they want it, and it doesn't matter who they meet in the street. Everyone's got a smile on their face, and they put their hand out to shake it and have a selfie with them.
Totally right. It's totally true. It's absolutely
They have
true.
no idea whatsoever.
None
None.
whatsoever. None whatsoever. Black Best, Trump keeps his enemies close. I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Best, because I just hope that Blair hasn't used some of his voodoo on him. You know what I mean? I had a mate years ago, and you know, Northern Ireland's a very religious country, as you know, Paul, right? And he was convinced that Tony Blair was the Antichrist, right? And I
You
used
see that picture of him, bloody
mate,
hell.
yeah. And I used to laugh. I was like, Michael, come on, he's flipping. He's just a politician. But you know what? You know, I used to laugh at Michael. I'm not laughing now. It's the Bob Monkhouse joke, isn't it?
Have you seen that picture of him looking up under his eyes? I mean, oh my God, he makes the, you know what, The Shining. What was that picture in The Shining with?
Oh, where Johnny's coming through the door with the axe.
Blimey, he makes The Shining look like a friendly neighbour.
You know, it's like the Omen, isn't it? It's like the Omen, you know.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh man, yeah. But
yeah, I mean, going back to Gary Neville and his, I just need to keep their mouths shut.
yeah.
Just,
I like
just
that,
shut their
Dave.
mouths.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, but they won't, Paul. He'll keep going because he thinks, you know. But do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if some NGO like Hate Without Hope paid him a couple of grand to flip and to just do that little speech, that little piece to camera. I wouldn't be surprised because he went and pimped himself out to flip in Qatar. You know, Qatar. He went and sat in Qatar.
Richard, I think he believes this shit. I think he believes his own shit. Look, like I said about living the life of a beautiful woman earlier on, right? He's been out to Qatar, right? He's had the full-on 5-star Arabian treatment. You know what
Yeah.
it's like. I mean, we've been to Dubai. It's a beautiful place. Everything is fantastic, right?
Well, I've never been to Dubai.
Well, he's had that. He's had that.
Yes.
This is why the other one, the boxer, what's his name? Silly bollocks. What's his name? Tony Bellew
Oh yeah, yeah.
was
yeah.
on about it the other
He was
week.
out
He's
Saudi,
had
he was in Saudi. But-
the Saudi money. He's had
But
the
that's
Saudi
but,
shilling.
but this is the thing. It's about the money, Paul. I don't think they do believe it. I think they're just whores. I think that they're not pretty women. They're whores, and they've whored themselves out. You know, they got used to the high life when they were playing football. And let's get it right about these footballers, right? Do you know what? I don't even watch football anymore. And you know, boxing different because boxers are putting their lives in danger. The most you're going to get is a bit of a bump on the head or a flipping broken leg playing football. Let's get it right. Different in boxing, but I don't even watch it anymore, Paul. I used to watch England. I was never big into the team because Middles was my team, and they've never really done that much. But I used to watch England, especially because I was in Northern Ireland, and I used to love going to work if England had won, and if they didn't win, it was horrendous going to work. But loved it. But I won't watch them anymore. I don't. They're just, you know, since that other cretin was running the team with all these woke nonsense, I just can't be bothered with them. All that taking the knee and all that sort of nonsense. Done with them. Done with them. Mahmood, another Richard III hairstyle. That's right. She does look like Richard III. If anyone wants to go and fact check Des, just go and do a Google image of Richard III, and you'll see where we're going from. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean it's absolutely crazy, Paul. Do you know what I'm doing, mate? Just entertain the audience, Paul. I'm just going to get a picture of Richard III here for Des.
What am I supposed to do? Sing and dance? You want me to sing a song or
just
something?
take your shirt off, mate. Just take your shirt off. Just start singing.
Entertain the audience. Don't give them
Start
bloody
singing.
nightmares.
Start singing. Paul's too sexy for his shirt. That'll do.
I'll tell you what. My sister-in-law is over at the moment. She's over for a week, and she's Oh, actually, I better not tell that story. But let's just say, I feel a lot better. She's no, I will tell it because that sounds a bit dodgy. She's a very, very highly qualified sports masseuse.
I've got a sore shoulder at the minute, Paul.
And I'll tell you what, I feel like a new man. Yeah.
Let's have a look, see if we can get this.
Tommy says, Paul, no, please. No, I won't take it off. Don't worry.
Where is it? I'm trying to get Richard III in here.
I'm just looking at some of the comments coming through. Richard follows a great team up the borough. Put the super chats on and then do a dance. No, I'm not dancing. Definitely not.
There we go. There's Shabana. There's Shabana Mahmood. That's not far. In fact, actually, do you know what? I think Richard III's better looking in that picture.
Well, where I come from, mate, that's Cockney rhyming slang, that is. I need a Richard.
Well, that really would sum Shamima Mahmood up, wouldn't it? You know? Oh dear.
But we have got, as I said, Richard, I've been thinking about over the last couple of days. I've been seriously thinking about, how do we resolve this issue?
Yeah.
Can it be resolved, and what potentially would those bullet points look like? And I'm still thinking of I'm writing everything down and I'm going to put it together in a video. But one of the things that we all in this country, and I mean everyone from every single community, including the Muslim community, is that they have to agree to start calling out their own problems. Now, I don't think they'll do it. But what everyone else has to come to terms with is that they've got to start calling them out. Absolutely.
We've got to start naming and shaming, Paul. I mean, I've been looking at a lot of stuff. I've been looking at cousin marriage. Not that I want to marry any of my cousins, but I've been looking at the cousin marriage thing. I've been looking at halal slaughter. I've been looking at Sharia, and also what's really happened with a lot of these communities, not all of them, but a lot of them, particularly, and I'm going to say it, and this hasn't been racist. This is just calling a fact. The Pakistani community and probably the Bangladeshi community, it is very clannish and very clan-based. That's why, especially in the Pakistani community, because of where they come from, it's tribal. And what they've done, they've imported tribalism into the UK. And now what you've got is tribal gangs running around in Lamborghinis, BMWs, and all the other trappings of wealth that they can get, involved in criminality on a massive scale,
massively,
involved in grooming on a massive scale, involved in people trafficking on a massive scale, involved in money laundering on a massive scale, involved in drug dealing, heroin, and now cocaine on a massive scale. And that's just a fact. I'm not saying every Pakistani is doing that. So that's just looking at the tribal side of it. Then you look at the religious side of it and you see 42% of mosques are Deobandi, 8% are Salafi, another 3% are Maududi and other extremist forms of Islam. And then you've got the Barelvis, who are meant to be the sort of moderate ones. And there's 28% of Barelvis. Now, if you say something about Muhammad, the Barelvis are going to come after you, right? So and that's just Sunni Islam. That's just Sunni Islam in the UK. And there's a lot more that we could dig into and we could look at. But when you're dealing with a tribal structure, and when the religion they follow was based on a tribal gangster. Basically, based on someone who was involved in stealing cattle, who was involved in attacking people he didn't agree with, who was a warlord, a tribal warlord. Muhammad was a tribal warlord, and that's not blaspheming your prophet. It's just a statement of fact. If anybody goes and reads the source text, reads his biography, reads the hadiths, has any grasp on what the Quran says, that's obviously what's going on here. He was a tribal elder who suddenly decided religion was a good way to manipulate people. That's just a fact of history. So when you put all those pieces of the jigsaw together, Paul, and you find out that people actually believe this stuff and believe it's true, we've got a massive problem.
Yeah.
Because creed comes before country, as Shabana Mahmood has said. Her faith comes first, right? And again, when we did those films in Telford, not to say the title, obviously, because of people's channels, but when we did those films in Telford, we uncovered, it was like Ozarks, mate. It was, you ever see the thing Ozarks on Netflix?
And by the way, Richard, if her religion is the most important thing in her life, then our culture and our religion could be the most important thing in ours. But I will say this about halal meat as well. Who the goddamn hell gave permission to our schools and our education department to switch, as far as I'm aware, all of the meat in all of the schools these days? I may be wrong. If I am, someone can correct me. But as far as I'm aware, if you eat meat in a British school these days, it's almost certainly going to be halal.
Yeah.
Who gave them the right to do that? Who did they ask permission to do that? I do not want my children, my grandchildren, eating the meat of an animal that's been slaughtered in such a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That's my belief.
Exactly.
As a someone that's big on animal rights myself, I don't believe in that sort of slaughter.
And what they've done, they've been very clever as well, Paul, because what they do is, well, you couldn't make this up. 12% of them are just brutally slaughtered by having the throat slit, right? They cut the animal's throat and the animal bleeds out, whether it's a sheep or I was going to say, they don't do pigs, obviously, for obvious reasons. Whether it's a sheep or a cow, it takes a cow 20 minutes to bleed out when they've butchered it in that way, and the animals are severely distressed. So that's 12% of the halal slaughter. The other 88% sounds great. They partially stun the animals. So what they do is, to get around this issue of having to stun the animals, they stun the animals, and then just as the animal's coming around, then they do what they have to do, right? So there's a time frame, right? It is absolutely barbaric. And all the while, they're putting hands on these animals' heads and praying an Islamic prayer over the animals when they're doing this. Now, I'm sorry, I don't want anything to do with that. It's hocus pocus. It's weird. It's weird. And I know people say, well, Richard, there's kosher meat and all the rest of it. Yes, I know about kosher meat and all about it, right? Not happy with that either, to be honest with you, right? But here's the thing. It's a tiny, tiny percentage. And the kosher meat doesn't get into... We're not going buying kosher meat in Tesco's. When we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and Burger King or whatever the ones that... Could be wrong about Burger King. I know KFC definitely have halal meat. We're not getting offered halal meat. Oh, sorry, kosher meat. We're getting offered halal meat.
Here's
And
the
halal
deal.
is the big problem.
The last time I went into a Nando's in the UK,
Yeah.
I tell you what, I went to one Nando's in the UK, and they had a sign on the door that said all of our meat is halal.
Yeah.
And I went in and I said, I want to eat here, but I'm not eating halal food. Do you have anything else? And they said, no, all of our meat is now halal. So I said, well, I can't eat here then.
And that's what we need. Well, here's the thing, Paul. I mean, here's my solutions to the situation, right? If there are these Muslims that are pretty much Muslims in name only, they're not obsessed with Muhammad, they're not obsessed with trying to be like Muhammad and wearing the pajamas and cleaning their teeth with a stick or whatever it is they do and all that sort of stuff, and all the other personal
I've
hygiene.
got to be honest with you, Richard. I'm just going to pull you up on that for a minute. I don't have so much of a problem with their minor cultural habits. If that's what they want to do when they're behind closed doors, if they want to wear a dishcloth or whatever, if they want to wear flip-flops in the rain, that's down to them. I'm more concerned about the serious aspects in life where it comes to the belief in adult relationships is okay with minors, the barbaric slaughter of animals for their food, some of the criminality that the youngsters are involved in is absolutely unbelievable. I have an issue with the major bits, not so much the minor bits. I don't really care if they want to wipe their ass with their hand. It's nothing to do with me.
Well, yeah, I get that, Paul, but it all comes as a package, you see.
Oh,
yeah. If that's the thing. I mean, I'm using, we look at, if we look at the way women are treated in Islam, look, and listen,
misogyny, yeah.
The misogyny is off the chart, right? I mean, they make Bernard Manning look like a choir boy. I mean, it's the way that women are treated. And again, there's evidence about this. There's still FGM going on, and I think it's 100,000 girls are at risk of FGM in the UK. Think about that, 100,000 girls at risk of FGM. So this is for their own. This is Muslim women that we're actually advocating for here. Cousin marriage is still going on. Forced marriage is still going on. Arranged marriage, child marriage, it's all going on. Children getting shipped back to Pakistan to get married, right? Cousin marriage, which leads to all sorts of deformities. The NHS has just said cousin marriage is a great thing because it pulls families together. Well, sure, it pulls families together if you.
By the way, Robert, that's not every Nando's. Only selected Nando's. They choose whether they're fully halal or not. Now, my suggestion to you or to anyone watching would be, the next time you go, I mean, listen, you can't go into a kebab shop and ask for non-halal meat because you're stepping into their arena.
Yeah.
If you go into a kebab shop, you know what you're getting. If you go into a Nando's, you're entitled to know what you're getting. Exactly. You should know what you're getting. That's the difference. Sorry, Richard.
No, exactly right. I mean, the halal thing, look, again, you've got to be careful what you say because there's like a halal certification board, and they sued. I think it was Jada Franson, and basically bankrupted her because she said something that was slightly wrong about where the money went. So I'm very cautious when I say these things. I'm not saying anything that's not true because I know if I say anything that's not true, some scumbag will come after me with a lawsuit because so many of these people are lawyers now. It's like, it's like Better Call Saul instead of Better Call Saul. It's Better Called Afsal. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening. But I think these are solutions, Paul, that I think we ban halal. Okay, we pass legislation that makes it illegal to have any different jurisprudence in the country. So in other words, there is only one law. And in fact, I'm sure there's actually laws in place now that could be activated to criminalize the bigamists and the people who are literally casting their wives away by divorcing them, by saying 3 times I divorce you. All that stuff's happening. The fraud that's going on in the benefit system, the fraud that's going on in the vote in the voting, the influence of tribal elders and imams. All of that can be legislated against. Halal can be legislated against. Cousin marriage can be legislated against. The people involved in criminality, people involved in extremism, and I think it was Douglas Murray said this, or in fact, or Rupert Lowe said, anybody that's been on these marches that's not a British citizen, deport them. Just deport them.
Yeah,
You haven't got your citizenship through, mate.
I agree.
And you're going to go on a Hamas supporting march where you're calling for the destruction of my Jewish friends in Israel. You're gone, mate. You're on the next boat out. You're on the next plane. And so we can do it. It would be absolute pandemonium from the left. You know, they would be blocking roads. They would be blocking airports. They'll be blocking ports to try and stop it happening. But we need to be strong, and we need to fight against them with the same resolves that we need to fight against these people that are causing these problems. And genuine moderate Muslims, people like Lubna, people like Shohab, the genuine moderates, our friends, they would then be safe, Paul.
Yeah.
And my ex-Muslim friends like Mo and you know, I'm not going to name her, but there's a woman up in the northwest of England I've known for many years, who is a Christian, very, very strong Christian. But they would be safe because they're not safe at the minute, Paul. The apostates aren't safe. The moderate Muslims aren't safe. And I've said this before loads of times. There was a Bangladeshi woman that we got to know when we were doing Veterans Against Terrorism. And she was very, very positive about what we're doing, very encouraging. And the last thing we got in our group was a message from her saying, I've had to stop doing what I'm doing. My brothers have said they're going to kill me if I keep talking to you guys.
Yeah,
we never heard from her again.
It's the women I feel for. Yeah.
It's the women that suffer the most.
Yeah.
You know. And look, at the end of it, I don't care what colour a person's skin is. If somebody's suffering, they're suffering. I don't care what religious background they come from.
Absolutely.
If they're being persecuted. And Paul, some of the stories I heard, there was a man called Mufassal Islam, and he had a network of ex-Muslims. And I mean, goodness knows what happened to the fella, but he went back to Islam and burned his network. But I met some of the women that he'd been helping to leave Islam, and their stories of abuse at the hands of Muslim men and imams and in the mosque were horrific. And the same with boys as well, little boys getting abused. So the stuff that's been going on is just monstrous. And our country has not only failed to protect all the white English girls, which we've talked about ad infinitum, but I also want to talk about the victims in the Muslim community who are just vulnerable people who are being absolutely just appallingly treated by their own people.
Can I just pick up on one or two of the comments? Alan Heritage says, stop talking shit. There's no such thing as a moderate Muslim. Alan, I'm going to disagree with you, mate. I don't want to be argumentative, but look, I know... I mean, you're not going to tell me that Lubna is not a moderate Muslim. You're not going to tell me that Shoaib is not a moderate Muslim. And I know plenty of Muslims, you know, Turks, for an example. Now, a lot of Turks, they're not what you would class as, they're more, a lot of them are much more relaxed. You can't just tar an entire people and say there's no such thing as a moderate Muslim, because there clearly is. Just the same as there's good and bad people in every race, every group. And I'm not trying to play the, what do you call it? The old Paul's trying to be sensible card. That's a fact. Whichever group of people you take in the world, there's good and bad amongst them all.
Well, I'm kind of, I think people that take that religion seriously are a big problem.
Exactly, but they don't all take it seriously.
Yeah. Whereas if you take Christianity seriously, you become like Mother Teresa or the Apostle Paul or William Wilberforce, right? If you take the loving your enemies and all that sort of stuff seriously, the problem is most of us don't. That's the problem with Christianity. Not that we do it too much. We don't do it enough. Whereas if you take the Quran, the Hadith, the life of Muhammad to the nth degree, you end up with ISIS or Al Qaeda or Boko Haram, and that's a fact. When you take that religion to its extreme, or to its logical conclusion, and this is what the great and the good, this is what the liberals don't understand, this is what the irreligious don't understand. Not all religions are the same. You know, Islam is not Methodism with turbans. It really isn't. It's something very, very dangerous when it's lived out to its full potential.
Alan's not the only one saying that in the chat, and and I would say, look, if you don't believe me, go and ask Tommy. Tommy would tell you the same thing. It's not Muslims that are the problem, it's Islam or radical Islam.
I mean, what amazes me, Paul, is actually that there's not more crazy stuff happens. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's which proves your point. Yeah. But I think what we're talking about, I think in a way, I understand what Alan's saying. I think The
Oh,
truth
I
of the matter is,
understand what you're saying, but it's
yeah,
not a great way of saying it.
no,
We're not talking shit.
no, no, exactly. If you're a very, very religious Muslim, it's very highly likely that you're going to end up extremely problematic to the country at some point or another, because of what's in the doctrines that you believe, and that's just a sad fact, right? But I think what we've got to look for are the people like Lubna, like Shohab, like the ones that see a lot of them. A lot of those people probably don't believe it anyway. I remember another guy. I've dealt with a lot of Muslim people down through the years with this sort of stuff, and I remember dealing with another guy I think he's from Birmingham, and he would never give me his full name, but I used to speak to the guy, and he said, "Look," he says, "I'm an atheist." He says, "I hate this." He says, "But I go to the mosque. I pretend to be a Muslim. I pretend I believe it all, but I'm just doing it because it's for an easy life." He says, "But I despise it." And I think there's going to be a lot of people like that. But I think what we've got to have freedom to do, and this is what David Woods has been very good at, and Tommy's been very good at, and Sam Solomon was very good at. And it's actually saying, okay, yeah, there's those moderate Muslims. Great. Fantastic. They're irrelevant. And the reason they're irrelevant is because they're not the ones that they've got the hands on the organs of power.
That
right?
I accept, yeah.
And
Totally.
and what you've got, the people that are controlling those communities, and when they're not in those silos and not in those petri dishes, and they come out from amongst them, like I think Lubna has and some of my friends have, when they separate themselves from that poisonous ideology and they literally disavow it, whether publicly or privately, then they've got some hope. And probably the best thing that can happen to those people is they become Christians, because they've all got that belief in God.
The problem for me is, Richard, is for a lot of the women is, where would they go?
This is exactly the problem.
Where would they go? Who's going to take them?
Yeah.
If you're in a misogynistic marriage and you've got, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 kids,
yeah,
or more,
yeah,
where do they go? Where do they take their children? What do they do?
They're stuck. And let's get it right, Paul. The Quran actually allows for domestic abuse. It allows you to give your wife a slap. That's true. We're not making that up. That's there in black and white. So there's massive problems with that religion, and the problem is,
as Linda says, Lubna is great, but she's still scared, and she has every right to be scared.
And she should be scared. She should be scared, because the reality is, we're dealing with something that is so big. And I think, somebody put in the comments earlier on, I'll try and find it, about Farage saying, where was it? I can't remember, can't find it. But basically, Farage saying that we can't win, we can't beat Islam. And I understand why he's saying that, right? But we've got to, for the sake of our country, we've got to find a way of, as peacefully as possible, opposing this ideology and not letting it take over our country. Because I don't want my kids and it doesn't matter, Paul, if you're in Spain.
Though, Richard, in many ways, it already has. In many ways,
well, it has, but you've got to find a way of pushing back and winning. Sam Solomon said it to me years ago. He says, Richard, they've already won. We're the resistance. That's what Sam said to me. Sam's been fighting this for years. And again, a very, very thoughtful, godly, good man. But he knew it from the inside, and he knew exactly what the agenda was. And it's a great loss, actually, that Sam's died, because he was such a great thinker and an ally to our cause. Yeah. And so well connected. He could pick up the phone to Geert Wilders, to senators in America. He was just massively well connected. But this is a problem. No Muslims. I would agree with that, to be honest with you. I would agree with that. And I know it sounds terribly bigoted. It sounds like we're going back to the old religious wars in the 16th century and all the rest of it. Well, that's where we are. We're there because our government's allowed us to be in that situation.
Robert Lode says Islam is not a race, and I mean that is exactly right.
It's not a race, absolutely.
It's one of the things that we've got to get. The country has got to accept and get over. And I tell you, I mean, look, Scientology creeps me out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And Scientology has crept me out since I met the leader of the Scientologists, the actual top leader from America. And he creeped the life out of me, and the whole movement creeps me out. We used to have a lot of them where I used to live, right? They're not a race. They were all shapes, colours, creeds, and all different. You know, none of them. They weren't all white or all black or all brown. They were all sorts.
Yeah.
They still creep me out.
Exactly.
It's an ideology or religion, if whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's not a race.
No, it's not.
Ridiculous. Is every Christian white?
No, exactly. There's more brown and black Christians than there is white Christians. There's more Christians in Africa. There's more Christians in China than there is in Europe.
Racism accusation about being concerned about Islam is just nonsense.
Yeah. No, it is. It's
just to throw you off track.
Exactly. And look, they'll try and intimidate us. I mean, you know, I've lost my social media accounts over this before. Again, I've pretty much destroyed, you know, my business has been destroyed because I stand to take on this sort of stuff. But I don't care, because the truth's the truth. And if we're not going to tell the truth, who is going to tell it? And we've got a unique position where we can say, no, actually, the problem is Islam. It is Islam, you know, and not Muslims, but it is Islam, and obviously a lot of what's going on in the Middle East, in Africa, is a direct result of people taking very seriously what they read and understand to read. Now, if they're wrong, I'd love to see a Muslim scholar come and show us where they're wrong and where they're interpreting those scriptures wrong, which is the other card they always play. Oh no, they're not. They're not reading the room. That's not what the text really says. Well, funny enough, for 1400 years, that's what all the predecessors did, exactly the same, and sometimes worse. And if you know anything about Islamic eschatology and what they believe is going to happen in the end times, it gets even worse when all that unfolds. But you know, the problem is there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of ignorance, and there's a lot of willful ignorance. And I wonder with Farage, does he have any idea what he's talking about when he makes statements like he made about Islam? Does he have any idea what he's actually talking about? Because I don't think he does.
I don't know of him. I mean, look, I know I don't trust the man, but that's another story. But at the end of the day, that speech was either very dumb or very clever, and I'm still not decided which one it was.
Well, it tied in with something Tommy said, because Tommy said to me, not to me, sorry, he said when he was talking to Dan Wotton. Tommy said, look, he says he went to see a bishop from the Church of England that got a meeting set up between the Dear Bandy leaders and the leaders of the EDL, right? And Tommy's going, why am I meeting these Dear Bandy people? And the bishop said to him, oh, MI6 have told us they're the ones that are going to be running the country in 50 years. Now, that's not acceptable. If that's the doctrine that's coming from our deep state, from MI5 and MI6, then we understand why we're getting tugged by counter-terrorism police and why we're getting heat from the police. Yeah. Because if that's what they've decided, then there has to be massive change in this country. There has to be massive change, and anyone that's made those decisions need to be called to account.
Yeah, Transporter says you will never stop radical Islam with peace. That I entirely agree with.
Yeah, that's true. As we found,
the only answer to this, Richard, the only answer to this in this country is for the authorities to clamp down, and I mean come down like a ton of bricks on these people and get rid of them.
I agree.
Get them out.
I agree. I totally agree.
They don't belong here. They've got no place here, no business here. They have no intentions of doing anything good for our country or for the people that live in it. And most of them aren't doing anything good for their own people. Just get rid of them.
Exactly. And that's Farage. This is Farage's words here when he did that interview. If we politically oppose the whole of Islam, we will lose. What does he mean by that? What does he mean by that?
Well, like I said, Richard, you know, I don't know if that's a very cowardly statement. Or can we just get it back up again for a sec?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, if we politically oppose the whole of Islam, we will lose. Now, my initial reaction to that was the same as everyone else's. Oh, you bloody coward, right? But I'm wondering if he was sending out a message there, and I did a video about it actually. And I just wonder if he was saying, look, this country hasn't got the stomach to take on the whole of Islam. Be
Or the
warned,
ability.
make your mind up.
Yeah. Well,
Wake
I
up.
mean, I think the reality is we're fighting against forces that are way more powerful than we are in our human strength. You know, if you look at the way the whole the Ummah is set up, the Islamic world, if you like, set up. You've got the Organization of Islamic Conference, which is like the United Nations of Islam. Then you've got individual countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan having massive influence over the British government. Then below that, you've got the Islamists, in other words, people in all of our countries politically agitating and trying to move the dial and check and
Over
change it.
500 councillors, 25 MPs, God knows how many mayors.
Exactly. And goodness knows we're one slip up away, because do you really think that Shabana Mahmood has not got ambitions to be prime minister? You know, Sadiq Khan can't be prime minister. Andy Burnham can't be prime minister. But guess what? Mahmood can be. She can be prime minister.
Tim at Fastjet Performance was suggesting that earlier today.
Well, he's not too far from the mark, because that could well be what's in the offing. You know, I wonder who
she'll be appointing. I wonder who she'll be appointing.
Who? In the Home Office.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, listen. You know, well, there was already, I think, 700 or 900 people in the Islamic network in the Home Office already. You know, so I want to show a few more images here, just relating to last year, and I want to start with this one. Now that little cartoon, that tells you everything that you need to know about what's happening in the world at the moment. Some of the most vulnerable of the vulnerable. Little kids were dragged off and put into dark, satanic tunnels and tortured by evil men. And I want you to remember these little kids. And I want you to remember this little one, Kifir. Now, when I met that woman, I took that photograph. When I met that woman, I'm I'm like Paul. I've got a heart of stone. I burst into tears when I was talking to that woman, and she was holding that picture of little Kafir. And then, of course, this one, Ariel. Now, if I showed you a picture of my grandson at that age, both of those little boys looked exactly like my grandson, exactly the same. The red hair, cute face. Yeah? Where are they now, Paul? I'll show you. That's what Hamas did to them. Not just murdered them. And I'm not going to go into how we think they were murdered, but I know what we were told. But then they paraded the bodies of that little family, that lovely little family, and made them a spectacle. And that's what we're up against.
Whilst dressing up their own children in suicide vests and giving them AK-47s.
Whilst using their own children as human shields. Because they don't care whether it's a Jewish child or a Palestinian child. Every dead child to them is a victory. Every dead child to Hamas is a victory. Because they know that the useful idiots in the West will always buy into the narrative that the children that are getting killed are being murdered by Israelis. Whereas the truth is, people like this scumbag here, this guy standing there with his cop vest on and his assault rifle.
Well, hopefully he's working in a chicken shop in North London somewhere.
No, I hope not. I hope he's been on the wrong end of an Israeli missile, to be honest with you. But that's another story. And that's what we're up against, Paul. That's what we're up against. And they're here. They're here. They're in our midst. They're among us. They walk among us. They're probably in my street now. They're probably in my town. And people wonder why people are getting itchy and getting worried about what's happening in little sleepy villages and little sleepy towns up and down England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland. I don't want these people. See these people here? See these people that are saying Zionism is a disease? No, sorry, you're the disease. You take your family and you go. because I don't want you in my country anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want you here.
You're not welcome.
You're not welcome. They're not welcome, Paul. And this is, the time of pulling our punches has been over a long time. Well, I've never pulled my punches, but the time of pulling our punches
It's
has
over.
been long over.
Richard, let me, something? That picture you got there is quite powerful. You see that guy carrying that flag there with that thing on his head?
Yeah.
I could have met that guy in another life, in another industry. I would have had no idea about his political views. And we would have got on just fine.
Yeah.
Probably could have become friends.
Yeah.
Right? And there they reveal themselves. That's what they truly believe.
Paul, I'd been to a demo one time, and I got a taxi from Belfast City Airport, right? And the taxi driver started talking about what was going on in the Middle East. Bad move. Very, very bad move. And I was probably, I don't know, 10 minutes away from my house, and I just said, stop the car. I says, what? I says, stop the car. I says, how much do I owe you? I says, you're a flipping disgrace. I says, how dare you talk to me about what's going on in the Middle East? You're not even from this country. Don't you dare come and spew your poison. I'm not behind the door, Paul. I don't care. If I see something's wrong, I'll flipping, I'll stick it on someone, And my mate, there's a mate of mine, I'm not going to say who it is, but his grandson's in the IDF. And his grandson was in an Uber with a few of his mates coming back. They'd been to an anti-Semitism demo in an Uber. And this guy didn't realize that they were Jews and started going off on one about the anti-Semitism demo. This guy's just come back from the IDF. He says, mate, could you just stop the car a minute? The guy stops the car. He opens the drive door, pulls him out, and beats the bag out of him. What he didn't realize was someone was filming. It was all over YouTube and Facebook. But he never got nicked. But the problem is this leads to conflict, because it leads. We've got it in Northern Ireland. We've got it in Northern Ireland with the Republicans all supporting Hamas and the terrorists, and the loyalists all supporting Israel. And it's bubbling. It's bubbling. And like you said, Paul, that we're one disaster away from a massive explosion, and it's not our fault.
Do you think the government know that?
They must know it. They're terrified. Paul, the government is terrified. Absolutely terrified. They don't know what to do. It's just management until it blows. They don't know what to do. And,
Did you see that idiot Starmer today? Sorry, cutting across you.
No, you're all right, Paul.
Starmer today was boasting that Shabana Mahmood has already made a difference with the boat crossings, because none come over apparently over the weekend. What he didn't mention was there were false 10 gales blowing across the English Channel. What a pillock.
Well, my wife said to me, she said, I hope the boats are coming across today.
Can you believe it? Richard, you better get through the rest of your supers there, mate.
I know. I'm going through them. Best and most honest chat yet. Cheers, lads. Well, yeah, I mean, we're probably getting our doors kicked in the morning. Well, I will. Paul's all right. He'll be all right. The Guard of Seville will probably leave. They'll probably agree with him. They'll probably give him. He'd probably get a flipping a medal for talking like this in Spain.
Mate, listen, they don't have it. No, they ain't having none of it over here.
No, and that's that's good. That's good. And look, the bottom line is they've been through it. You see, the Spanish have lived this for 700 years. Don't forget that. Andalusia. Again, there's a book, if anyone wants to read it, called the Myth of the Andalusian Paradise, and it basically pulls apart the idea that when Spain was controlled by Muslims, by the Moors, that it was a peaceful, lovely, culturally enriched country. It was nothing. It was nothing of the sort. It was full of barbary, rape, pillage, and murder.
Well, funny thing is, in Benidorm the other night, they had a big festival, Moors versus Christians.
Yep, yeah, they know what to do.
Yeah.
The Spanish know what to do, Did you both see the guy on Dan Mutton earlier? He tried to say Tommy and Rupert are both too extreme towards Islam. I bet you that was that clampet that's standing for reform now. What's his name? Oh, Quirk.
Oh, yeah, no, Russell's. Yeah, Russell. Is it Russell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Russell Quirk, yeah,
You
no.
know. Well, listen, they'll all. But that's the problem. That's reform for you, Paul. That's reform.
Anyone in the chat, because I've seen a few, anyone in the chat say I'm sticking with reform, there you go. That's where you'll end up. Not
Yeah,
reform,
exactly,
you'll end up
exactly.
with revert.
If you stick reform, look, honestly, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, Paul. Ben did an interview with London Real, that American guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
brilliant.
a masterclass, Paul.
And that was just a suit.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, it was unbelievable, wasn't it? I said he looked like Willy Wonka.
God, what a suit that was.
You look like Willy
life.
Wonka, mate. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to find out where his tailor is. But no, seriously, talking about reform, look, at the end of the day, just open your eyes.
I like Bess here. Each of us has a talent. Use your wits. We can make a difference without notice. I mean, I think, look, we try to laugh about stuff, right? We try to laugh about stuff. I mean, everything's crazy, but we still try and have a laugh all the same.
Talking about laughing about stuff, Richard, before we go, because I'm actually getting a bit knackered here, mate. I've got a picture there that I've popped in the thing that you can put up for me. I've got a little challenge for the viewers. Can you put it in? It's in.
I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, these are the main characters in Dad's Army.
There's Paul there.
Sergeant Wilson. We need to do is what we need the viewers to do is we need to decide who's who in this little selection here. I mean, you know, the only woman in there at the bottom there, well, that's got to be Sarah, isn't it?
I don't know, mate.
That got to be Sarah, and I mean, the Reverend has got to be Father Calvin.
That's funny. That's right. That's it.
Can we just get rid of that message off the screen a minute?
Yeah, I'll just read it. You two have to do a night talking about the Fabian Society. Let me get. There's only two more supers to do here, Paul.
Thanks, Kelly.
You two have to do a night talk about the Fabian Society. Thanks for that, Kelly. Richard, Paul is time man. Paul is time management. Read this out. Right, let's get them hidden. Okay.
Private Fraser, that's Jeff. That's Jeff.
So okay, so we got Father Calvin, we've got Sarah, we've got Jeff Taylor.
Private Walker, Danny Tomo. Let's have a little look. Who else we got there?
Private Godfrey.
Private Godfrey. Who
we
got for Private Godfrey?
There is someone. We'll come back to that. There's someone I can think of for Private Godfrey.
Sergeant Wilson.
That's you, Paul. That's you.
You reckon?
Oh, yeah. Uncle Arthur.
All right, I'll take Sergeant Wilson. Tommy's got to be Captain Mannering, isn't he?
No, because Captain Mannering's a buffoon. But
he's supposedly the leader, isn't he? So he's got to be top.
Yeah.
Private Pike, who's that? Could be young Bob.
That can be young Bob. I'll be Corporal Jones. I'll be Corporal Jones.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't like it up
him. Yeah, don't like it up him. Yeah. Got his bayonet ready, even when there's nothing going on. Yeah.
Don't panic, Mr. Manning.
And what do you reckon, then, guys? You got any better suggestions? You'll have to.
Well, I mean, we've got to find Danny somewhere. I mean, you know, we're going to have to we'll probably have to incorporate an 8.5 hot mum in here as well. Paul, do you know what I mean? Just to get the whole army vibe going.
Get all the boys in and that, and the girls.
No, Tommy can't be Captain Mannering because Captain Mannering's an absolute numpty. So he could.
Who are we going to do?
I don't know.
I thought Private Walker, Danny was a good one.
Yeah, that's a brilliant one. Who was Fraser again? Who was Private Fraser?
He's the Scots one, isn't he?
Yeah.
Grumpy old man.
Oh, that's Jeff. That's Jeff.
That's Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff Taylor. Oh dear. And who was Private
Godfrey? Actually, I've got it. Richard. Jeff Richard.
Jeff Richard.
There's even a little bit of a similar. There's a similar theme going on there.
Does that mean Private Pike is Danny?
Yeah, Danny. Yeah, Pike can be Danny. Yeah.
So you're
young Bob, isn't it? That's young Bob.
Oh, it's young Bob. Oh, sorry, that was young Bob. We need one for Danny, mate. Oh, what about the air raid warden? What about the warden? There's
Well,
ones missing off this, Paul.
Yeah, there is. Well, I'll have to get the rest up. I just thought I'd show you a few tonight. Dad's Army. There we go. We've even got to play the theme, shouldn't we?
Brilliant,
Who
brilliant.
do you think
Oh, here we've got
you're
some.
kidding,
While we were
Mr.
waiting, we've got.
Starmer?
If you think old England's done. Okay, we've got some more supers here. I see Starmer making it. If you don't have a digital ID, you can't vote. We know all the left will be queuing up to get the ID. The right won't. Man, is that genuine? Is he doing that? Is that what he's trying to do?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, would it?
No, it wouldn't surprise me either.
I mean, look, it's got to have, I've said this a dozen times, mate.
Yeah.
I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, right? Every politician's number one aim is to get re-elected.
Yeah.
This prick has got to have a plan because he knows that he's not going to get elected at the
No.
moment.
Well, if he tries that, there will be a revolution. As simple as that. There will be an uprising.
He's got to have a plan.
We just don't want Elon Musk selling some of those kung fu kicking flipping robots he's been creating. Do you see that one, Paul?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But I thought I saw Gary Neville's name on a loaf of bread, but it said thick cut. Love it, Jules. Love it.
Yeah,
love
nice.
it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. We'll have to. Do you know what? We'll probably get a copyright strike now, Paul, for singing the Dad's Army.
Dad's
thing.
Army song. Yeah.
But,
I'm gonna have to get someone that can sing that and do it for us.
Yeah, we'll do that, mate. We'll definitely do it. Well, guys, listen. Are we going to go? Have you anything more, Paul, or do you want to?
No, I went out to Benidorm the other day to try and interview some passers-by, and
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, mate, everyone's a bit. I think they're all too worried about getting drunk, but no, seriously, yeah, nobody really wanted to appear on camera. They were very
Really?
camera shy. Yeah.
Really? What, English people? And
Yeah,
did they know who
worried
you? They knew you, Paul. Yeah.
A lot of them did, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what.
That's
Well, they're all probably.
why.
Mate, they're probably all on the run.
No, I mean, one or two of them mentioned, I don't want to get nicked when I got to go home, and
Yeah.
I don't want to get pulled up at the airport like
But
you.
that,
and-
I mean, that shows you the level of fear, doesn't it? Do you know what I
that's
mean?
I'm saying, and that's after one or two of them had a drink.
I know. They need. You know what they need? They need a backbone inserted into them, Paul. That's the problem.
And they also mentioned that I don't want to be associated with Richard.
Oh, that's understandable, mate. I don't want to be associated with Richard. He's a wrong un. He's a total wrong un, mate.
Right,
Oh.
guys, I'm sorry for the few technical problems, but just in case you didn't know, we're streaming from Richard's in charge tonight. And you know what happens when Richard's in charge? The meter runs out, the internet goes down, his camera stops working, his mic gives up.
It's
A
the
bit
deep
like
state.
his body.
It's the deep state. Yeah, my body's been giving up as well at the minute. But listen, I'm still ready. Still
Good
ready.
man. Good man.
Right. Listen, we will love yous and leave yous. Good audience tonight. Over 2,000, even despite
Brilliant.
the technical
Brilliant.
issues. So
Let's all remember tomorrow is a very poignant day, and thoughts and prayers with the families of everyone affected on that day.
Well, I think we'll maybe go through a bit of stuff, Paul, tomorrow, and we'll maybe do half an hour and just pay our respects to our Jewish friends. And
I'm never sure how to do that, Richard, because not being of the Jewish faith myself, you never know when you're offending or not doing something quite right. I think what I'll probably do is put a little message up on the community page and probably leave it at that, to be fair, just to make sure that you don't put your foot in it,
Yeah. I think I might do something. I might maybe do a live, just a short one, because I think it's such a massive thing, and I don't think we can just let it go by. You know what I mean? So, I think I will. I'll put something out. But guys, again, thanks for all the supers. I mean, everyone was great tonight. The comments were great. It's just, I think we've got a really good, solid audience there, Paul. Of people
absolutely.
that enjoy what we say. They know that we're coming at it with the right heart, and we don't always get it right. We don't always say things exactly the way they're meant to be said. but we're not TV presenters. We're just normal blokes.
No, we're just normal people. We're
Yeah.
just commentators, you know. And by the way,
Exactly.
guys, later this week, I'm going to do something a little bit more light. I'm going to get Danny on. I'm going to get me mate Kev back on because he's a real laugh. I mean, it's no good talking about politics when Kev's around. He don't even know what colour Labour are and what colour the Tories are. So, but he's funny, right? And I don't know, Richard hopefully will come on and we'll have a little jolly up. Give everyone a bit of a lighter stream one night.
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
Why
look,
not?
I mean, the bottom line is, I'm still very hopeful, Paul. Anyway, I still think we can win this. We just need to be very, very committed to what we do.
Work hard. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Listen, thanks for everyone watching. God bless you all, and
All the
we'll
best.
see you all soon. God bless. See you soon.
Take care.
See you now.